Well, welcome back to the channel, everybody. This is the 11th day of March 2025. Very blustery. You know what they say, in like a lion, out like a baby hippopotamus, or something to that effect. It's been about 30 days now since everything went down here, including Michelle getting stranded in Fairbanks. We're going to tell you all about that and how you can hopefully avoid loss of communications. That was the big thing. We had no internet, no cell service, no nothing.
February 10th, we woke up to find we had no internet. Jed spent several days trying to figure out what was wrong, but to no avail. Thankfully, we have Zoleo for emergency text comm, so I texted our contact guy at HughesNet, who gave multiple suggestions as to what the problem could be, but none of them panned out. So finally, I packed up emergency gear, and Jed and I took off to Manly on our snow machines, cleaned my truck off of several months' worth of snow, and sent me on my way to Fairbanks for parts for the satellite dish and needed supplies, with Jed coming back to the cabin.
Well, as Michelle got in the truck and headed across the bridge on her 160-mile trip to Fairbanks, I got back here realizing that we now have no way to communicate whatsoever. No texting, no phone calls, no nothing. HughesNet being out, that eliminated everything. But then I got here and I remembered that a couple of 3 times down on the bank of the river, back during the summer, my phone would ding and I would look and I would have like 1 bar. So I ventured down about 300 yards from the cabin to a spot that I knew was a little bit higher than every place else, and sure enough, I got 1 bar, but it took hours for a text to send. It took even longer for me to receive texts. I was getting them like the next day, and I guess if I could have just sat there long enough, they would have come in faster, but the fact that it was like 20 below zero made it a little difficult, including there was a pretty good wind blowing almost every day. So we were able to communicate briefly, but not very much. Well, here's an update for you as the dogs and I proceed down to the river. Michelle sent a text sometime last evening around 9 o'clock. I got it early this morning, and if she was able to keep her schedule, she should have been in Manly by 10, on the trail by 11. That's like almost 5 hours ago, and she is still not home. So I am assuming if everything went the way she had planned, she is stranded somewhere on the trail. Unfortunately, I still can't get anything to run, so I can't go and rescue her. I'm trying to get in touch with some folks who can check this out for me, but so far, I haven't been able to get any bars in enabling me to send a text, but I'm going to keep trying. Okay, just got a text from our buddy Chuck in Manly. Michelle was able to get a text to him. The truck broke down on her right at the Manly cutoff, as we call it, on the highway there. She's probably 80, 90 miles from Fairbanks. They were able to get a tow truck on its way. So she is going to be towed back to Fairbanks and will be stuck there for, we have no idea how long, because it'll depend on how fast they can get the truck going.
Alrighty, well, here I am stranded about 10 miles at, on the beginning of the Manly Hot Springs Road. My truck started revving and lost power, and then just decided it wasn't going to take another step. Or is that another roll of the wheel? Anyway, for the moment, I'm stranded until a tow truck gets here, but I have heat as long as the truck stays running. I am afraid to turn it off because if it won't turn on again, then I'm really in trouble. Tow truck is supposed to be coming here probably about a couple hours. I'm about a couple hours outside of Fairbanks, about 79 or 80 miles. So, and the roads are pretty icy. You can kind of see that there. Yeah. So backstory, because I forgot to do a video when I was in town, and I'm going back to town, was I went in because our internet is out. So had to come into town to see HughesNet and get stuff to fix the internet. Well, now I'm not going to get back home probably for at least a week, maybe 2. I don't know. It depends on how soon my mechanic can look at the truck. So I decided, well, I'll get gas while I'm there, and I did some shopping while I was there. I even got these new, really cool looking skis here. Hawk skis. Shorter, wider, easier to traverse in the snow and tracked, paved trails and stuff. Or not paved, packed. But now it looks like I'm heading back to Fairbanks. My poor honey, I can't contact him, so he doesn't know I'm not going to make it. Woo! And it is windy out. Whee! Got my hair cut, but you can still see the wind blowing it. It is chilly. I'm getting back in my truck. No, wait for that tow truck. Brr!
Well, I got a notice from Chuck, our buddy in Manly, that Michelle finally arrived and she is on her way. He suggested I go meet her, and thankfully the skidoo started. So I'm on my way out the trail and going to go meet up with her.
I'm redoing this. I thought I had this going, but I didn't. I'm off the river. This is my first snow machine trip alone, and it was almost a no-go because the snow machine was frozen, or well, it wasn't frozen, but it was on ice and I couldn't make it go. Chuck, who's the guy that lets me park my truck at his property, came over, and between the two of us we pushed it off the ice so that I could get a move on. I have a pretty full couple sleds here. The one right behind me is full of groceries, and then the one behind that, which you can barely see, has about 22 gallons of gas. It is a beautiful day, perfect day to be out on a snow machine, though I have to say it's a little bit warm, which made me nervous, but so far so good. And I just got a text from my mom that Jed is heading out to meet me. For whatever reason, he and I have not been able to get texts to each other, even though other people can text back and forth with him. Alright, that's it for the moment. Off I go. Alright, made it over Dugan Creek, so the rest of the way should be relatively stress-free. Dugan Creek has overflow, and it's kind of close to the trail, so I'm glad that's done. So now, the rest of the way is overland. Woohoo! Good thing Jed showed up, because look what happened. One of my snowshoes came off the back of the snow machine, got caught underneath the sled, and then broke the hitch, or the screws came out of the hitch pulling these sleds. Hey, at least it didn't happen going over the creeks. look at that. First came out. But we're going to attach this light sled to this one and probably just wire that back on. I don't know yet. Let's see what Jed does. Right now, he's trying to turn, make, you know, a 20-point turn. A 20-point turn plus lifting the skis to get back and forth. And this is one of the things for me. The snow machines are really heavy. And it takes a lot of help for me to be able to do it. Now that's a long track, so it should be a little better. At least for in deep snow, or wet snow, or any kind of snow. I don't know.
Well, we are home. Michelle is home. I'm home. We're here. It's been quite a trying experience, and I want to thank Chuck for finally getting a text through to me to go out and meet her on the trail, because had I not, there would have been problems. But the trip in seemed to be all right for you.
Trip in was great. I mean, I decided that I prefer to do supply runs in the wintertime. No potholes, no mud, no mosquitoes. It was great. I got my stuff done in Fairbanks, turned around and came back.
And a place to live.
Yeah, I had a place to stay with my girlfriend's Airbnb. Everything was fine. And then I came back, and about, I don't know, 85 miles away from Manly, then my truck died. And that's when everything began to fall apart.
And of course you wound up back in Fairbanks, but there again, there were those that came to your rescue, thank goodness.
It took 4 hours before a tow truck was out there. Thank you to my son for just, you know, footing that bill for the moment and getting somebody out there. And then once I got to Fairbanks, I had, what, three different places I was able to stay as the days rolled on, and the truck was finished right on time like they said it was. And for every single thing that fell apart in my mind, there was something good to balance it. I mean, and I do mean everything. So in the end...
Plus you got to have a lot of fun for, what, 3 nights, I guess?
Yes, 3 nights. I drove for Roy in Fairbanks for Aurora tours. Things that I take for granted up here. I mean, I see an aurora and I still get excited, but I forget the excitement of having seen my very first one, and seeing and sharing other people's first experiences with auroras was absolutely amazing. And I feel so thankful to Roy for letting me drive, and thankful to the people I drove for sharing their stories with me. I want to give a shout out.
Yeah.
Dave and Nancy from California. He came up for his birthday, and it was a trip. It wasn't actually, I wouldn't say not planned, it was just the way things work out. They came up on military cargo, and this particular trip, they don't usually come to Fairbanks, and they did this time for his birthday, and the roars came out on his birthday night. So that was awesome. And then I met Karen and Christine. I'm sorry, 2 of you, I don't remember if you were from Michigan or Minnesota, but they also came up just for the auroras, and they got to see them. And then Sarah and Alec, I think, were their names, here from New York City. And they had some amazing auroral views that night with them all over the sky, and they're going to be in this video. Anyway, make a long story short, I met some really cool people. I had a great time for, you know, being stuck in Fairbanks when I wanted to be home. And then coming back here, if Chuck had not texted or been able to get a text through to Jed, I don't know how many of my sleds would have, well, both my sleds would have been left on the trail. It's just a matter of how far they would have been left before I realized they were left.
And we got that taken care of. But we want to, now, I want to remind you, Zoleo is not sponsoring this video. They did not ask us to do this. For a long time, we had Garmin. It would not work out here, period. When we first used it, it took us a mile away from where it was supposed to take us. And text would take like sometimes 24 hours to reach us.
And sometimes they never reached us.
And then we never got them. But we switched, actually I should say Michelle switched to a product called Zoleo. Zoleo is a satellite texting device that works every time, all the time. And had it not been for Zoleo, I don't know that the communications that did take place would have even happened.
Right? Zoleo has a 2-year warranty on their product, and I think I'm now into the 4th year of using it, and it takes a little bit longer to open up on my phone than it used to, but otherwise it still works great. I love it.
So Zoleo is the way to go out in the Alaskan bush, if you ask us. That's just our opinion, and you can ask others if you'd like, but I think they're going to give you the same answer. Well, thanks everybody for watching. Join us next time, right here on Alaska Bush Living.